Go bold at boldip.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Bold Inventor Show. I'm your host, J.D. Hubener, and with my trusty co-pilot, Matt Kilseth.
Aloha.
Yes, we did sync up on our shirts for those on the live video program. It's summer, everybody. Welcome to summer. And
thanks. You were wearing the Hawaiian shirt. I thought I'd wear the Hawaiian shirt to match you. And no, we are not members of the Proud Boys.
No, we're not. No, is that some sort of a thing? I didn't know.
The Proud Boys like to wear Hawaiian shirts. But full disclosure, JD and I are good people. So
yeah, right. No, I would say we're more humble, Matt.
Humble boys.
Let's start that. Anyway, let's not even go there. For those that are maybe new or don't know us, we're attorneys, and we're with Bold Patents Law Firm. I am on the patent side. Matt is on the trademark side. We're happy to take on any questions as we go through this broadcast. And we've got a really good program today. This whole podcast, that if you're listening, if you're on the video, the whole goal here is to educate, inform, give some legal information. But this is not the forum for legal advice. Okay, this is to remain confidential. And so I've got to slap up this disclaimer. Okay, if you're watching now and you want to share something important and something you're wondering if you want to protect, I'm going to provide a link here at about midway through our show for you to schedule time with Dallas, our number one client success manager. You'll be talking with him at a discovery call. It's a free appointment just to see if now is the right time to move forward with something. We're going to be having a guest on shortly, an inventor. He's got multiple products, Stephen Souders. Okay, I'm excited to have him on. He's going to be sharing with us his Cut and Go, as well as his Free Me device. And so he's got a lot to share with inventors. And so stay tuned for that. Then we're going to go to our next segment where we're going to take a look at a segment from Shark Tank. You've probably heard of the show. This one is, I tried to find something similar, right? I tried to find something comparable to what we're talking about with our guests. And so this is, we're looking at line cutters. So if you're into fishing, hunting, we're looking to cut things. This was a product that was promoted, let's just say on Shark Tank, featured there. So we'll do a quick look at that and provide some feedback from the patent side and trademark side as well. And again, we'll be happy to answer live questions as we go. I've got some preloaded questions as well if we don't have any come in live. Well, give us an update, Matt. What have you been doing the past couple of weeks?
You know, I've been took a week off and did some home renovations because the kids were at camp. Well, the big one's still at camp. She's there for a whole month. But
wow.
We remodeled the whole upstairs. So pulled out the popcorn ceilings, added lights, new flooring, new tile.
Oh my God. Yeah, right.
The little one's bedroom's done, and the bathroom's done. The main floor still needs trim, as does my oldest's room. So that's what I've been working on. So a lot of paints, a lot of late nights. What about you?
I bet. Nothing quite as ambitious there. I would love to see some pictures, by the way.
I will send you some pictures. It was the last part of the house that wasn't remodeled, so it needed to be done.
Toward the end of June, it was the very kind of the crescendo of dance season. So we got through 4 recitals in one weekend. Our girls did fantastic, and they ended their season really well. And they're in competitive dance. And so the following week was all about auditions. It was so exciting.
What kind of dance we talking? You were talking jazz dance? We talking tap dance?
Great question. So they did 3 this last year: ballet, they did jazz, and hip hop, which was very fun. Hip hop was new. They did not do a contemporary. Thank goodness, because that's the one that gets me tearing up big time. You know, the contemporary, the slower moving. This year they're probably going to do a contemporary, and just that'll be just all soaking wet. But it'll be awesome because they're trying to do a duo for the first time. They're kind of entering that age where it's they're 9, they're 10, and they've been doing this for 3-4 years. So excited to keep that going. It's a summer break. So Dance Dad shirt has come off. I'm just putting Hawaiian stuff on. We're planning some summer getaways. We got one planned out to go to the beach in July with my sister and her family. So it'll be really good. We're going to Seaside, Oregon. Everybody's out there in that area. Super fun.
You gonna go crabbing out there?
No, dude. I'll probably just crab. I have done that before. It's a lot of work. Just
Just
pulling up those baskets. You go in a big
pull lines,
circle
yeah.
and you just pull lines. My back hurts thinking about it. And then with crab, it's like it takes you. It's so much effort to get the meat, and then you finally get there. It's like, oh man!
I've gone crabbing, pulling pots a couple times. It is a ton of fun, but it's a ton of work too. And you can have days where you catch just a few, right?
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, so good to have you back on, and good to have everybody again. Just one more time, if you're joining us live, this is the time to ask a question, anything at all related to legal, entrepreneurship, inventions, trademarks, you name it. Don't be afraid to interrupt us. I think we should get to our guest. Steven's been waiting patiently backstage. Steven Souders, welcome to the show.
How you doing?
What's up, Steven?
Great.
I would wear my Hawaiian shirt, but I'm branding.
You are definitely branding, sir. You've got a lot going on. You've outdone me, I think. Sure, I love it, man. And you've got the shirt to match. So let's start with the shirt. How about that? So I believe it's Steven's Design Institute. Is that right?
Yep.
And you're Steven.
Yep. Steven Souders. No N.
No N. Not the eggs, as we talked about, right? Not the sound of the, or the Seattle sound soccer. We're talking Souders. Am I saying it right? Souders? Is that right?
Souders. Yep. Just like loud Souders.
Okay.
My wife was partially deaf, so in the beginning it was always and I just got tired of it. So I just started speaking louder because you just don't like being married to a donkey. Don't tell that joke anywhere though; it doesn't go well.
Well, you're not just anywhere. You're on the Bold Inventor show. Okay, sir, you are an inventor, are you not?
Yes.
Awesome. If you want to start way back with maybe your first product, do you want to do that?
Yeah, so my first product was basically in 2008 when they passed that Frank Dodd bill. It virtually killed my current business. And I was literally sitting at home thinking, I'm going to have to close my doors here in about 2 weeks. And I was watching Fox News and I saw a cop walking through the water, going to rescue this elderly couple in the water. They were trapped in their car and went to commercial. It was just that quick. And just like that, God gave it to me, gave me this design in my head. I went to this dining room table right where I'm sitting right now. I drew it up. I drew up the logo. And then I went and Googled seatbelt cutters. Because I never wore my seatbelt because I was afraid of being trapped in it. And I didn't even know they made seatbelt cutters till I invented a seatbelt cutter. That's crazy, right?
That's powerful.
And when I went and Googled it, I just realized they're all glorified envelope openers.
Okay.
And then I went into my living room just to the left of me here, and I said to God, if things are going to work out, you're going to have to do some amazing things. So I was closing on a home the next day, and I had this guy that is a maintenance guy for the one mobile home park because I sell mobile homes. And I said to him, I told him this idea. I told him what it was, how it was going to work and all that. And he said, well, what do you need? I said, I need like $3,000 to go get to start the patent process, to get the CAD drawings and all that. And he said, really? Okay. So the next day we were closing after that. And he said, we closed, and he said, come to the van. Came over to the van, handed me $3,000. Said what? He said, go get it. I said, are you serious? He said, yeah. And and ever since then, amazing things have happened to keep this journey going. At times it looked like it wasn't ever going to happen. But you know what? You just keep moving, because I have a saying that says you got to keep your head up and your eyes wide open, because you never know what's coming around the corner of tomorrow.
That's correct. So it was the kind of individual that kind of got that spark going, right? That sort of generosity, saw in you that you had the energy to bring it to fruition. Did you know that person before? Did you say?
Yeah, I dealt with him a little bit in that park and all that, but we never hung out. We weren't friends. We didn't barbecue together or anything like that. If I had a project going on in that community, he was involved.
Yeah.
But that's about as far as it went. It's just God opened up. God gave it to me because I think he just knew I'd be the guy to ride this thing and to learn all about it. Because one thing when I learned about this is that you can learn about your invention, but at some point you have to let your invention teach you. And the Cut and Go has taught me incredible things. And you know what's really amazing about this is that my wife and I at the time, We've probably driven over 1 million miles, never buckled up, terrified of being buckled up, of being trapped. I made this thing. I realized, why do you wear your seatbelt? Do you know why you wear your seatbelt?
Well, it's a law, and I abide by the law. Well, that's probably number one. And I've always, I've seen publications that show that seatbelts can be safe. I see those crash dummy tests in my head, right? The videos of people without seatbelt. That doesn't look so good. But go ahead with what you were going to say.
That's true, because it is because of your airbag.
Right. Okay.
So my wife, after this and all that, first time when I had it made, I had my first prototype made, and I showed it. I said, "You want to see it?" She goes, "I heard it 1 million times. I don't need to see it." Then after a couple hours, I said, "Look, you got to see it. I just got to show it to you." So I showed it to her. She goes, "Oh, that ain't anything like what I thought it was going to be." Because I tell you what, I went and did demonstrations for people, and I get all hyper. Their eyes are just rolling around in their head like peas in a boxcar. My wife probably wants to crawl into a hole somewhere and hide. and then after a couple hours, she came back. She goes, "I think you finally did it." Because I've been talking about inventions my whole life. I came up with some crazy stuff. We all have, Yeah. And even my son, after a while, goes, "I think you finally did it."
Yeah. Okay. So you made a believer out of somebody who has seen it all from you, heard it all from you. Your wife's convinced. You're wearing a seatbelt right now. You're wearing a seatbelt.
The important thing is, she starts to buckle up. After driving for 40 years, she T-bones a guy in the rain, 45 miles an hour.
Okay.
She's got her seatbelt on, though, for the first time.
Wow.
Minor bruising. His glasses flew in the backseat of the car and all that.
Yeah.
Same week, my nephew's a police officer in Exeter Township in Pennsylvania. A kid in his 20s, similar situation, doesn't have his seatbelt on, slides underneath the airbag, breaks the steering wheel, and kills him. Now, I don't know if that would have happened to my wife, but she was in her 50s, weighed 120 pounds, and I don't know what would happen to her without that seatbelt on. And 3 years later, her first granddaughter was born. And now she gets to live with them and play with them every single day. And that is such a tremendous blessing. But if God wouldn't have given this to me, I don't know if that'd be true today.
That's a great story. So let's see. Can you show us the device?
Yeah. So you see, this is the seatbelt. This I would end with a beauty pageant. I came in second, but no. So you always have it. It's always on your seatbelt. So when you slide it up, it's always there. When I buckle up, I slide it back down, so it's right above where I buckle in. I call it the sweet spot.
Okay.
So this is
all the time.
Yeah, all the time. That's why what happens is when you buckle in, you get a routine down. So when I'm buckling in, I slide it up so I have enough room to buckle in, and then I slide it back down. And then when I unbuckle, I slide it down so that it has enough room to retract, because that spring isn't strong enough to pull it through. Because it's got to gently hug that belt, because even though your belt is amazingly strong, I mean, the place where I did all my testing, we lift motors with belts, side to side. That's what will kill you, the curl. That's why knives and the other ones really don't work. See, with the cut and go, though, you hear that click, it locks on your belt forever. See, and then what you do is you just lift this handle, you break a safety tab right here, you lift this handle, that red safety tab you see right there? And see this now, this is the only device in the world you can do this with. I don't even need to see what I'm doing. And you see what I did?
No, magic trick. But did you just close it?
Yeah, close it. See, it's the only locked on, self-enclosed, manually guided, child-proof seatbelt cutter ever invented in the world, and I have 10 patents on it all around the world.
Love it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's
and my window breaking pin, if I can't see it, is a 25-degree tungsten carbide tip. So even if someone licensed this from me, they have to buy the pin from me because it's my proprietary blend. And it works so good that Colton, at the age of 6, cut his own belt and broke his own window while still sitting in his booster seat. And I dare anybody else in the world to try that.
Okay. Matt, you had a question?
Oh no, it's really cool. I'm a volunteer firefighter. I have a seatbelt cutter. I got a window breaker in my car, but they're in the center console, right? So if I need to get to it, I have to be able to get to the center console. But this is really cool that it's right on the belt itself.
And you know what I can do that you have to be definitely afraid of doing with yours?
What's that? Drop it.
Dropping it. See, I can't drop mine until the belt's cut.
Got it. Yep.
And I know where it is, and I've developed muscle memory. Yours is out of sight, out of mind. Right. And if you're on your side, and the minute you open that, there it goes.
Yep.
Goodbye.
No.
And it is the only device in the world that I actually put a demo in the family pack, so you can actually try it, or somebody gets in your car, they don't have the cut and go yet. You can actually have them do it because it doesn't have a pin in it or a blade, or have your children even do it, because they may need to save you, because this is the only system in the world that goes on every single belt in your car. Because someday you may get in an accident, you may be unconscious, and your kid may have to go up to you and slap you to wake you up. Now, that's the only time they can do it. But they may need to save you one day.
So,
or you may need to all do it at the exact same time if you go into water.
Okay, I got a question. I'm not just playing dumb. This is me being dumb, perhaps.
Yeah.
How does someone get stuck in a seatbelt? Can't you just push the button?
No. I have it somewhere. There's actually a pre-tensioner underneath your belt. I have everything here but that. I don't know where I put it. But underneath your belt, where you buckle in, believe it or not, there's a pre-tensioner underneath there. And there's a it goes off like a 22 shell. And there's a rod in there about 3.5 inches. And in 1998, they started putting these prevalent in all the cars. And what it does is when it goes off, it sucks your belt down into your lap, because everybody has a 2.25 inch socket on each hip. Man, woman, everybody on the planet. And you know why they made that? You know why they started putting that in your car?
No.
Because people were sliding underneath their seatbelts, getting stuffed up underneath the dash. Now that's a bad day.
Okay.
So when that thing sucks you down, see, now what's happening is, as that is yanking you down and your body is flying forward, the opposing forces cause it to jam. Like if you hear of an accident sometime and they said, oh yeah, they were in their car and they burned alive, but they were sitting straight up. That's because when that thing goes off, I'm telling you, man, it locks you in your seat. But that first time I did it, it scared the living crap out of me. I could not believe how tight that made it. But that's what will happen. It'll jam your belt on you. Then you have to cut that.
Okay.
And if the power locks and power windows go down, even if you don't buckle up, you're still going to have to break that window, because as soon as the electric's out, you're trapped. You can change your car handles for coffin handles.
Okay, so what you just said, to me, makes your whole reason for your product, right? It sells me, right? And oftentimes that's the case, I think. Perhaps even with you, you've done it so much, you've seen the product, you've been around it for so long, you almost assume that people understand the problem. I didn't understand the problem with line cutter, the free me, or, by cutting a seatbelt. The way you described it just now was very clear, right? So some way, in terms of your marketing, sometimes that's one of the better ways to go about it, is just clearly describe the problem so people can appreciate your solution.
I am producing the Journey to Safety series. It'll be close to 100 videos of 1-minute ones of explaining all the different scenarios. And I made a screaming video. How far do you think someone has to be away from your car if the windows are up and you're screaming that they could hear you to come rescue you?
Wow.
And I almost went hoarse making that video. We had it was sitting way on the other side of the field, and my buddy was shooting with a camera, right? And I had the window down first of all to show how far you can see, you can hear, right? And so I'm going, help me, and I can be very loud. And the neighbors came out. They were coming out because they thought somebody was in distress. We're like, no, we're just making a video for my safety series.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and so you will be surprised on how far. And I mean, this is a perfectly quiet day. So you think if there was any traffic around or anything, someone would have to be pretty close to your car to hear that. I made a smashing egg video. I have a video on the dropping it. I have a whole bunch of videos coming out with all kinds of scenarios that teach people. And a lot of people think, oh, well, it's not going to happen to me. And it's not all about just about death. Sometimes the one lady I met at the one trade show I did, it took so long for the EMTs to get there that the belt was pressing against the artery in her neck because she was leaning in her car. And it was 2 years when I met her, and she said the doctors told her that that'll never be cured.
Okay.
Now, the beauty of the cut and go is that, say you are in a situation like that. Maybe you're in a situation where you don't even feel comfortable in cutting your belt all the way through. This is the only thing that can do this. Matt can't. See, little bit. Now, maybe she has just enough room to move that belt and relieve that pressure, or maybe it's just to help reduce the stress of one mother up in Schuylkill County from me, where her the belt got wrapped around her granddaughter's neck. And so she had to wait for somebody to show up, but that builds trauma.
Okay.
Build trauma.
Sir, you've got some serious. I want to get down to the intellectual property aspect here. Let's talk patents and trademarks.
Okay.
First, patents. You said you acquired 10 total patents. How many utility, how many design?
They're all utility patents.
10 utility patents.
I do have one design patent that has not been approved yet, but these are all utility patents, both for here, 3 in the United States, 1 in Canada, Europe, Israel, India, and Australia. The India looks really cool, but I don't know what it says.
So how much time, how much more pendency, or I should say, how much more life does your patent have, the 3 U.S. patents?
Till 2037.
37, okay. And when was the last one most recently granted on the utility side?
I just got approval from Europe.
Okay, from the U.S. though, when did it get granted? And
that was all the way back in like 2018.
Okay. Have you had any infringement? Any copycats?
No, because I haven't really pushed it out there because of certain situations that went on in my life at that time. But now, next month is going to be the month where things are going to really probably start to happen. And I'm super excited.
Good for you. So let's talk about that. How are you planning to go to market? How are you going to sell this?
Well, I have a cage number, so I'm going to be I'm going to be going after my federal contracts.
What's a cage number? I'm not familiar with what that is.
Cage number gives you your number the right to sell to the U.S. government.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Most people can't get it. Most people have a very difficult time getting it. On my 3rd time, I got it in 1 day.
Do you spell it CAGE? Is that an acronym, I imagine, for a government product? Or how do you spell that?
Cage, CAGE.
Okay, so it is just like.
And then they ask you and then they wanted last year they wanted you to get a unique identifier number. I have that too.
And I'll share really quickly. You do have a website up. Maybe you can walk us through that.
That one's nothing to really talk about because that was for my freebie. Okay. And that one is my second invention.
Okay. Well, let's wait on that then. We'll stay on this one just to stay focused. And there's a lot we could talk about here. Okay, so if you haven't really brought that to market, you're thinking government sales.
And then I'm going to start to release my Journey to Safety series.
Okay.
Because I had a TikTok video, I put it out at 5:00 at night. By 3:00 in the morning, I had 10,000 views.
Okay.
When people start to see the Journey to Safety series, what's going to be good about that series, because there's such an extensive amount of videos, and they're all going to be 1 minute or more, And I'm going to show something on there that the world does not believe, and you would not believe the difficulty I had to get to prove it. And I want everyone to go watch for when that comes out. I'll let you know when I release that series, because there's going to be an answer to something that everyone told me I was absolutely insane, that it couldn't be done. And I love those challenges.
Love it. Well,
because I guarantee you, Matt cannot do this one with his device.
No, probably not. And you know what I like
guarantee
about,
it.
from a sales perspective, I mean, I like the fact that, you can put 4 or 5 of these in a car, right? That's just multiple orders, right? Or
I give you 5, and the 5th one comes in a Good Samaritan pack. And when I invented that, I didn't even know the Good Samaritan rule. Because, see, I give you a lifetime replacement of them. So if you use it, you come back to me with your story, and then I'll replace it for free. But the 5th one, since most people don't use their center belt in the back seat, can't even find it, you take that one, you put that one in your armrest or your glove compartment, and if you come upon an accident or you see a trapped child or dog in a car, you use it, you come back to me with a story, I'll give it to you for free. And also, if you sell your car with the cut and go system in it, you'll go to our website. I already have it made in the future, and you just print out the transferable guarantee, in which you let us know who bought your car, what dealership bought your car, and they can then give that guarantee to them. And if they need to use it, I'll replace it for free.
Okay, just want to be clear. There's nowhere I can buy these online right now.
Not right now, no.
Soon. Soon. We're on pins and needles. You're talking with some potential licensing deals with the government, or direct to retail, or direct to government with them. Let's see. When you do launch, the branding is important. Cut and Go is incredibly catchy. I think it's probably been used for other types of products or industries. Talk about trademarks, right?
You want to know which two? The barbers and underwear. And I didn't know Taco Bell made underwear.
Okay, Matt, what do you think? Cut and Go, I know you were on the spot, but what would you say with respect to that branding? Any comments, concerns?
Cut and Go? It could be considered descriptive at the USPTO, meaning wouldn't be able to be registered. I immediately go back to Fly and Go, if you're familiar with that brand. It's like the place where the park and fly.
Park and fly.
Right. Park and fly. I mean, that's pretty descriptive. Cut and Go is kind of the same thing, but it's not park and fly, it's cut and go, and it is somewhat suggestive of the product in a sense. I don't know exactly what it is until you tell me, and I'm like, oh, it makes sense to me. Cut and get out.
Because there's nothing in this field. If I was in their same field, I couldn't use it. But since I'm in a completely different field, there's no conflict with the name.
Right.
And everything's going to be marketed under Stevens Design Institute in the future anyway, because now I have multiple products, and I have about 7 more products that I'm going to be releasing in the future.
Yeah. Awesome. And I'm looking.
And everything's going to be, believe it or not, is safety oriented. And man, as a kid, there was nothing about safety in my life. I'm riddled with ADHD. ADHD and safety do not go together. One time, my family passes ambulance with a little boy, and she goes, "That better not be Steve." It was.
Funny. Yeah, I'm looking at your trademark right now, and it's registered. The logo's registered. That's great.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good. Awesome.
I'm a student of my business, just like when I made the first and only seaplane and helicopter protocol in the world. I went to and I found out that I do not need to have FAA approval to put my cut and go in your private plane or helicopter, because it does not affect, according to the North Sea rules. The North Sea rules state that as long as you do not infringe on the use of the belt in any way, shape, or form, there's no reason to have any FAA approval on it. So I can actually put this in your private plane or your helicopter and protect you. Because we'll see what happens with seaplanes. When I was at SEMA, I had all these things listed, and after like 2 days, this guy comes over and goes, "Man, you're really working this show." I said, "Well, I didn't spend a couple $1,000 to come here and sit around and play on my phone." He goes, "You don't have seaplanes on there." He said, "I had 3 friends that died in them." And I said, "Well, why is that?" He said, "What happens is they come into land, Sometimes out of habit, they'll put the landing gear down or the will drag and catch the water, and then they flip upside down immediately, and you start drowning. And about 2.5 years ago, up in the Hudson, up in New York, 5 people drowned in the helicopter, and because the divers couldn't get a seatbelt cutter in there. If they would already had it mounted on there, those kids would be lucky if their sneakers were wet by the time they were out of there.
Got it.
That's why when I created that, I actually created the demo, because I thought, if you're in a seaplane and you're just flying to a resort somewhere and you're going to go hunting, 1 minute you're there, 30 minutes you could be drowning and dying. So you took the demo one and you showed the passengers how to use it, so they knew. And then I created the first FreeMe protocol, and I didn't know it until I invented the FreeMe. And that is once you try it, you tap where it is, and then you tap where you get out, so you know instinctively what you're doing. That's part of the FreeMe protocol. See, the FreeMe goes on your life preservers. Do you know 20% of people die while wearing their life preserver? And you don't even have to be completely submerged. The only problem about safety products is I get to hear all the horrible stories of how this lady, her best friend's son, who she knew was a great kid, actually drowned because he flipped his kayak and it got hung up on the rocks in the river and he drowned. But if you're just in rapids, because that's continuously hitting your face, that rapid, you never get a chance to grab a full breath. It's called cupping. You can actually die like that. Do you know there's so much stuff in our rivers that you can do magnetic fishing?
Steven, you got so much energy. I got to cut you off here a little bit. So let's move on to the next thing. We're going to go to our next segment. I want to say about 5 minutes here and sort of package up the best you can some advice for someone who's maybe at where you were at the very beginning, right? Before all this happened. If someone's listening maybe now or after the fact, and you're going to give them some big wisdom, right? Big golden nuggets, some path they can move forward. What are those things you would mention to them if you had just a few minutes to share?
Okay. The first thing I did is I researched it. Is there a lot of people think just because they invent something that it's going to be great, they'll risk marriages, fortunes, and everything for it, and it isn't. But in my area, and probably in your area too, there's probably a mentorship program that you can go through, and this is usually done by seasoned professional business people that have been successful in their life, and now they're willing to donate their time to you. That's the first thing I did. I went to the mentorship program. I showed him what I was doing, what my ideas were. He asked me about pricing and everything like that. And that, I think, was tremendously great. And I think everybody should do that. And then when you get it.
Can you say which one you used, which mentorship program?
What was my mentorship program? I forget what the name was. It was 7 years ago.
No worries. If you think you can send it to me, I'll put it into the credits here. But yeah.
Okay. I'm sure every area has their own name for it. If you just go into mentorship programs, and you dial into Google, in your area, it'll come up what it's called in your area. And then, today with 3D imprinting, you can get your stuff 3D imprinted before you ever get molds to work out the bugs. My first prototype was actually a wine box because nobody could understand it. Then one day I'm looking at this wine box. I'm like, all right, that's how I'm going to make my prototype out of. And once I made it out of that, I even put little styrofoam in there, glued a blade in it and everything so I could show them how it worked. So I would say get a mentorship program, do 3D imprinting, and then once you have it, show it every place you can and talk about it and be a little obsessive about it. So you can start to learn and think and grow with it and start to understand it before you go to market. Because I did try GoFundMe in the beginning, and thank God that didn't work out. Because what I know today to then would have been a horrendous mistake. Thank God God was looking out for me and just said, we're just going to kill that idea.
Yeah, no, good. Those are awesome. Really good points there. Thank you, Steven. Seek mentorship. I love that. I would add maybe even seek counsel in there. Maybe you got to seek an attorney, right? Get some professional help as part of that mentorship, not just one person, but maybe several people. And I love your number 2, save money. Don't need to go blow your whole bank, going to get molds or tooling. Do some 3D printing to iterate, perhaps prototype, refine your design. And then, as you said, don't stop with one door. Don't stop with one conference, show it off. I mean, the way you speak, Stephen, is with such conviction. I can tell you've spoke about this and you're so clear and you overcome so many questions that were in my mind. You just answer them as you're talking. It's just incredible hearing your passion. And that is uncommon, I will tell you. Your level of passion is uncommon. And I think you're going to succeed no matter what.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely going to happen. And one more little tidbit.
Yes.
People out there, don't use the P word. The P word should be banned from your vocabulary. And that is the word problems. The word problems is nothing more than an anchor that hangs around your neck and will stop your creativity at every step you can. Remember, it's just a challenge. The moon was just a challenge. Mount Everest was just a challenge. Your ideas are just challenges. Forget the P word. I don't use the P word ever. And I don't have it.
I like it. Turn the problems into challenges. Stephen, I'm going to have you stay backstage with us. I want to thank you very much for coming on our show and sharing with our audience your journey, some really fascinating and impactful stories, and, of course, your product. We'll have you back on to do a brief recap as we do our Shark Tank. But, yeah, hang out. We'll have you right back on. Awesome. Very cool stuff.
Yeah, no, very passionate.
Yes, sir. And this is what this little longer format does for us. We're able to kind of dive in a bit more and get all of the goodness out of these interviews. I've got some questions here, Matt, that came in over the week. Are you up for a couple? I don't see any live questions yet, so I think we should jump to our.
Let's do it. I got it. I got this.
Okay, good. We've been out a couple of weeks, so we got one for trademarks jumping out first. This is out of Temecula, California, a beautiful part of the country. We should do a live show in Temecula, I think.
Let's do it.
On the sandy
Fly
beaches.
out. I'll fly out. You drive down, I'll fly out.
Okay. That'd be quite the drive. Okay, this one's a little lengthy. I'm going to try to pull this up here. Okay. Can I register commercial RE Academy if someone is in a nearly identical business has already registered commercial academy? Basically inserting the two letters RE. I'm launching an e-learning website for those interested in learning about commercial real estate. I've been using the name Commercial RE Academy for 9 years, but recently discovered someone with a registered mark for Commercial Academy who's been using it for longer than me and in almost the same service. Sounds like trouble, Matt. What do you think? After some diligent searching on the web, is my opinion, this other person has pretty great claim to first use. So maybe they got some early advice. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. So I'll probably.
He goes on to ask this follow-up question here. If he wanted to try to put his name in there, Brian Petyo, Commercial Real Estate Academy.
You can always add your name if you file an affidavit with the USPTO that gives whoever's applying for it, if it's you or your company, permission to register your own name as a trademark. So that's just fine. But Commercial Academy seems like really descriptive to me. But that being said, let me take a look at it and just see if it's registered. It is registered. I want to see if it's on the principal database or if it's on the secondary database. Give me 1 second here.
It's on secondary.
What's that?
You said, is it on the secondary?
It's on the secondary. So yeah, it's on the supplemental database. So that trademark is not enforceable in terms of registration rights. So it's on the supplemental, meaning they can't enforce it against Commercial RE Academy. But potentially it has the opportunity after 5 years of continuous exclusive use to be registered on the principal database. They'd have to reapply at that point. But I would say Commercial RE Academy would not necessarily infringe that trademark because it's on the supplemental. And then, furthermore, RE, as an acronym is likely registrable unless it's a pretty common acronym for real estate, in which case the USPTO can come back and say, this is descriptive of a Commercial Academy for real estate. So
got it.
There's a better name out there. I'll say that.
I love that.
That's kind of my standard line for clients is that, when they come to me and, we're kind of hemming and hawing about whether or not it's descriptive, and that just tells you right there that there's a better name for you and you should look for that.
that answer was worth the price of admission, my friend. And so,
yeah, money back guarantee. You know it.
Absolutely. No, it was really good. So summary is currently unenforceable if someone were to try to come after you. But there's that potential that sometime down the road, they might actually get on the principle if they're able to show secondary meaning. But look for a different name.
Yep.
Okay, I'm up for a patent question. This one is about a article of clothing. Got an idea I plan to submit a provisional application for. I will work with a patent attorney, good for you. It's for a clothing design. A quick search finds nothing similar in patents or applications or in commercial production. However, the space I'm in is growing. So I'm worried there are unpublished applications out there, right? Recently filed applications. My question is there a way to search for provisional apps before they're published? There's one way. If I move forward with a provisional application and also start to prototype, are they published? If I move forward with the provisional, I'll start to prototype, produce items. If someone did in fact file a similar design prior to me, will I get into a battle? Okay, great question. I love it. This is not well known, but when a patent application, either a provisional or a utility non-provisional, is filed, it is not published right away. It is not automatically. Only after 18 months after filing your original priority date is it published, around 18 months. So a year and a half of time exists where prior art, right, previously filed patent applications are unfindable to the public. So I mentioned that one way to find it, and that's to be a USPTO patent examiner. I know, funny. All right, but it's true that they will look, rarely, they will look only if there are two almost identical patents that are submitted. They will go take a peek at a provisional application to see if it fully enables that eventual non-provisional and if the subject matter aligns, and they will award the application that's pending to the earlier file. It is a first to file system. Even if the other can prove they invented it first, right? So long as they're both independently derived, that's a key word. Means one didn't learn from the other, which is another interesting avenue of discussion. Then it will be whoever filed it first. So that's when they go look, and this battle they're talking about, a priority battle, could ensue.
Is that, JD, that's a great answer. Is that an interference hearing at the USPTO?
It's no longer called that. So the American Invents Act changed that. So interference used to be where it was a who invented it first. And that all went away because there's a bunch of back and forth, people coming out of woodworks with their signed certified notebooks and their professor's documents saying, oh, no, it was invented now. That doesn't matter. The impetus is not who filed it first. There could be a battle at the PTAB if someone argues, oh, no, that earlier filer derived it from me. Maybe if you, under NDA or whether a public disclosure, they defrauded the patent office and said they were the inventor when really they weren't.
So it's a race to the patent office, which is different than, on the trademark side, which is still first in time, first in right.
Yep, there's a big difference. And I think the policy reason is there. We don't want inventors sitting on their ideas. We want to make the world smarter as soon as possible. That's the whole point of make the U.S., I guess, right? Most educated and to get that information out as soon as possible. It's one of the big exchanges at the patent office. You share information with the government, they reward you with that limited federal monopoly. Now,
JD, like this potential client, whoever, if they file a provisional patent application, do they receive an application number, and are they able to legitimately say patent pending if they're provisional?
Yes, even for a provisional application, as soon as the application is filed, and you get an electronic receipt that was received, immediately patent pending. So it's the same status as if you filed a full formal non-provisional with all the claims and bells and whistles.
Cool.
Just patent pending. So yeah,
right.
Thank you for that.
And the patent pending gives notice for damages. Is that kind of the idea?
You nailed it. So if you've got that on your product and you can sell it, you're providing actual notice to a third party. If they decide to be a bad gal or bad guy and rip you off after being put on actual notice, they're potentially liable for treble damages, triple big time damages, and it's a heavy, threat to settle or to drive for federal court damages. So, you nailed it.
Same on the trademark side with the registered trademark symbol and TM symbol.
Same on the trademark side. Okay, let's do one more on trademarks, and we'll try to squeeze one more on patents. We've got a little bit of time here. This one is Looks like it's short and sweet. It's got to do with the logo. So kind of how Steven went with his logo. We've got some similarity there. Okay. I'll pull this up. So advice, please. The company that designed my logo a couple years ago has contacted me to tell me another company has applied to trademark my business name. If I want to avoid legal action, I need to cease using it. Okay, another cease and desist. Is this legit? I own the domain name registered business. I'm worried now. I'm only small. I don't want to give up the business. Please, can someone advise me? So similar questions to what we had before.
Yeah, no, I see this all the time with some of these shady online logo creation places. It's a scam. There's nobody else out there who's using your logo exactly and is registering at the USPTO and yada yada yada. That being said, be careful who you trust with your logos, right? You certainly want an agency, an individual, an online company that has what's called a work made for hire agreement. So that essentially you own the copyright or the intellectual property of the product that the artist is producing for you. It's not uncommon for me. A couple times a year, I have clients, who will say, "Hey, my logo designer now says that I owe him money for my products because he owns the copyright for the logo." And so you just need to make sure that when you do get a logo created, you are operating under what's called a work made for hire. That's kind of the magic words. And that essentially assigns all the intellectual property to you as the owner of the company or product.
Love it. All right, let's do one more and then we'll jump. This is a trademark one. Someone's talking about TikTok here.
Oh, yeah.
And I love this in all caps. What is the absolute fastest way I can trademark for a skincare product? So we're going to see if they have a summer. I want to bring a popular product to sell to the TikTok shop. They require a trademark. Interesting.
Sure.
Maybe to get to the certain promotion level, Amazon's not alone. They're now seeing this has been popular on Amazon, so other companies that are selling.
Yeah.
So talk about this, why TikTok might be doing that.
Sure.
And then talk about the fastest way to file.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the e-commerce companies, notably Amazon, move to their own internal brand registry systems, which give benefits to sellers on Amazon Seller Central to sell products. So if you are a brand owner, meaning that you have a pending application at the USPTO for a trademark or a registered trademark at the United States Patent and Trademark Office, you can apply basically for Amazon brand registry. It sounds like TikTok might have a similar setup as well, in that they require you basically, if you want brand protection, to have an application or registration. Or Amazon used to be registration only. You had to have a registration number, which is different than a serial application number. But they've since kind of moved away from that. As long as you have an attorney of record assigned to your application serial number, they'll allow you to move forward with the Amazon brand registry process. So it might be the same thing for TikTok. I'm not familiar with the TikTok shop or anything like that.
Yeah, I hadn't even heard of the TikTok shop. I mean, I think that was the part of the answer.
We're a little old for TikTok.
I agree. I'm
talking about interference actions over here. So you know how long I've been out of law school.
2010. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's skip that last part. I mean, I think absolute fastest way. I mean, I think we've maybe take 1 minute. Take 1 minute on that. Let's talk. I mean, that may not be the best question to ask, perhaps. But someone's in a hurry. What are some things they should think about?
Yeah, it is first in time, first and right in the United States. So meaning first in time to either file the application or first in time to actually use the product, or sell the product or offer the product for sale in the United States. So if you want to protect it, contact your friendly local or not local trademark attorney, and they can typically expedite that application for you, especially if it's just an intent to use wordmark application. We can file those really quickly. So yeah, conceivably you could, have an application filed same day to protect the brand.
Okay, right on cue for action takers. Schedule that free 20-minute discovery call with us and get a copy of my book talking about just that, trademarks and patents. And there's your link to do so right there, a weekly live link. Chat with Dallas.
Great.
Let's do it. Let's launch into our bold bite for the week. This is another cutting device, not nearly as I'll call it life impactful as
I don't know. Fishing's pretty important.
It is. It is right there. So a company called Line Cutterz was on. We have a 2-minute cut here. I'm going to go share right now. Let me check the audio here for me.
Sure.
How we doing?
Hi, Sharks.
Great.
Good. All right.
Get it.
Hi, Sharks. My name is Vance Zahorsky, and I'm taking $120,000 for 20% equity stake in my company, Line Cutterz. I was fishing at my friend's wedding in Florida and accidentally caught a 3-foot black-tipped shark. I needed to cut it free quick. So I ran up to my tackle box to grab my knife, and it had fallen in the sand. I stepped on it and almost cut off my toe. I've even chipped my teeth fighting line the old school way, twice. I thought, why not just put a cutter on your finger? So I busted out some welding putty, broke apart a dental floss cutter, and handmade my first prototype, the very first Line Cutterz ring. I got to show you how this works. This is 12-pound test monofilament line, pretty popular for catching sunny and bass. This is 30-pound test fluorocarbon. 30, 50, 60-pound fish is what you catch with that. 50-pound braided nylon. You can't bite this with your teeth. All right, let's get crazy. This is a 100-pound test braided nylon fishing line. You can catch 2 and 300-pound shark with this line.
That's crazy. Stop the madness.
I can't cut my skin with it either. And the best part is, the fishing industry is just the beginning. So, Sharks, who wants Line Cutterz to cut you loose to make some real money?
Ooh, I dig that. That's nice. I like that.
Put another ring on. I got my green one here, but yeah, that wouldn't be too hard. I mean, I'm not an avid fisherman. I was out actually over the past couple of weeks on it once with my dad. I would need it, unfortunately, for cutting off my now stuck bait that's stuck in the log because I didn't cast it correctly. But there's reasons to do that, I think, all over the place with respect to fishing. What do you think? How would you use it?
Yeah, I mean, I love to fly fish. I don't get out nearly as much as I used to, but yeah, this would be great for that. I mean, if I was a professional guide, right, I would use this all day, every day. I think it's a really fantastic niche product.
Okay.
I'm trying to think outside of the fishing world where this might come into play. And I'm really struggling to, think about that. Maybe people who are into sewing, knitting.
Yeah, maybe. They've got this video. I'll show this real quick. I've got the audio turned off, but they do show how you got the ring, and they added this hook holder. So it's not just a cutter.
That's cool.
So, and they show a really neat way to kind of how you might hold your hook as you're setting your line. Here, I'll move slow-mo.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I use like retractable nippers that attach to that.
Yep. Cool. So you can see kind of has, as Stephen was alluding to, it's not just one product, but you start to develop more and more. I want to go in the weeds a little bit on the patent side. So here we're looking at their original patent. So Vance Zahorsky, this was, he's out of Pflugerville, Texas. He filed this in April 2015. And he filed a provisional. We talked provisionals earlier. So he filed his provisional back April 1st, 2014. So we make reference all the way back now 10 years ago. This issued back in 2016. This got plenty of life. This is a utility patent. And he did use counsel, good for him. It's a utility patent. So it covers not just what it looks like, but what it does functionally. And he's got a ring. The abstract talks about a ring and a ring body. It's a ring with a knife on it. Honestly, it's amazing he was able to get this granted. When you go look at the bottom of the claim language, you can see perhaps why they're able to get around it. Talks about the summary, the detailed description here. There's not that many elements. So it's a ring, and they've got a body, a shoulder, a blade that's mounted on the cap. And then up above a few more elements about this specific blade has to be curved, okay? And then the curved edge of the blade is an inner and an outer away edge. And then a couple more specific aspects of the curved edge how it has to be parallel, and then transverse. So yeah, there are quite a few, I'll call them, restrictions or additional elements they had to add perhaps to get around some prior art. But it's there, right? And I think what he did is also have some design patents filed. I think Stephen is alluding to that as well in his patent. So as a design patent he had filed just around the same time as his utility, about a year later. So he wasn't able to make reference to his provisional, but filed this on the same date he filed the non-provisional. And so a design patent is a lot different. It's got a D, so you know right away that it's a design patent.
Are you looking at the are you looking at the design patent right now on your screen?
Oh, here we go. Yeah, let's just switch over. So
Thank you.
Yep. Hopefully was I showing the utility patent earlier?
No, but you were explaining it pretty clearly.
Okay, got it. Let's do this real quick. I don't want to. I'm already pretty too much. Yeah, the utility patent real quick. So it's got the written claims down here. And so this is the utility side. So it's got a list under and claim, ring and all the different elements. Now onto the design side. Thanks for that. So this is a design patent. The D in the upper right is a design. And there's only one claim, that it's ornamental design for a ring described. I wanted to highlight one of these cool aspects of design patents is you want to be careful how you're showing it. It's all about the 3 dimensions. So you see the actual ring part is in dashed lines here. And the part he's trying to protect is in solid line, which is the top mount with the cutter portion.
Interesting. And it looks like he's changed his design over the years too.
Yes. And so he's had to file several design patents to kind of keep up with that. And so here's his second one. This is for just the actual cutting element. So we have a second design with the ring totally gone and just a separate. And this, I was surprised he was able to get this particular one registered. He had to cite his own patent against him. See this one, design patent 767.
Yep.
So when you go to file some subsequent patents, you're likely going to almost get in the way of yourself. You got to be careful about how you approach it and the filing timing and all that.
Very cool. Well, I mean, it sounds like he's got quite the portfolio. He's got a trademark registration too for design mark for line cutters with a fish on it, kind of like you saw on the logo on the promotional video. But yeah, he's registered it basically on the. I think he's going to be in the ring jewelry category. No. Okay. So interesting. So, he had a couple different options in terms of how he filed this trademark application. Could either be a ring or a fishing tool device, like a hand tool essentially, right? And he opted for the functional aspects of trademarks in terms of registering the hand tool version.
Okay. Got it.
Conceivably, he could have registered in the jewelry class as well, but this seems to make more sense.
Very good.
Registered line cutters with a design associated to it. Yeah, it's registered.
Very
Pretty
good.
cool.
We hit it from the patent and trademark side. Our guest has been patiently waiting. I want to let him make a few comments here, and we'll wrap up our show. Stephen, what are your thoughts on line cutters there? That quick pitch you saw.
Not bad at all. My first invention I tried to get patented was a fishing invention.
Okay. Your wife was like, nope, not this one.
No, it was just $10,000 right down the tubes. Unfortunately, there are too many people in the patent industry that are very unscrupulous, or they promote stuff that they cannot do. And people really got to be protective. I mean, the first one I went to, I sent them drawings. They sent me drawings back. It looked like a child did them. And it looked nothing like what I sent them. I'm like, are you retarded? I got lucky enough, though. They did give me all my money back, but $50. The next patent guy I said, he goes, the way I first designed, he goes, that thing is so dangerous, I wouldn't patent that for nothing. So 15 minutes down the turnpike, I designed it the way it is today. Thank you. My third one was the right guy. So you really got to do your due diligence. Like, not all patent attorneys are created equal.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. We strive to do our diligence here at Bald, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing that, no jokes, no funny business experience. But we're going to wrap up our show. I've got to wrap our show up. Thank you so much for coming on, sharing with us. And Matt, as always, thanks for being a good trusty co-host. For Bald, myself here, wish you guys a great rest of your day. Go big.
Have,
Bold.
have a great day and dream big.
Go big. Go bold at boldip.com.